Okay, welcome back. We're going to look at working on the hole here for the vent using a Pro Boolean. So I'll just show you how you do that. If we've got time, we'll work on the internal framing behind or within the hole, within the aperture itself. We'll see how we go. So we're just going to work on the hole now within this air conditioning unit itself. There's a few different techniques and skills we'll be looking at. Okay, so first things first, we need to change the edge view to default shading, and hopefully it'll change to edged faces. If not, it should be. You can click it here. Okay, because we want to be able to see all the geometry as we create it. You can flick through them. Obviously, I've just clicked on it there. You can turn them on and off by by clicking on. Yeah, it's function. So F4 will turn them on and off for you, so you can see it. So let's have a little look at that. So F4, there you go. Okay, so function and F4, or just the function F4 key will turn them on and off. So edge faces, make sure you're on that. So we're going to have a look at creating the hole, as I said before. So standard primitives, and we're just going to create a cylinder. Now I'm going to use my Alt-W key to navigate around my orthographic views, and I'm going to just create a cylinder like so, and then you'll have to move it out a little bit more to create the height of it. Okay. Because when you're creating a cylinder or a box, or any other kind of shape itself, you'll create the radius, and then you'll have to click again, drag and click to create the height here. So I'm going to go, now my cylinder is selected, I'm going to click onto my modify tool tab, and I'm going to just increase that a little bit more. 22 is fine. You can go a little bit higher if you want. Let's try 25. That'll do. So it's kind of nice and got a smooth edge. Right, back to my front view, and I'm just going to move it slightly. I'm going to try and move it so there's the same amount of gap between the top of the cylinder and the additional geometry we've made here. So when we come to target weld some of these points later, which I'll go through, which just tidies the geometry up, it makes it easier for us to do that, rather than if they're overlapping, it could cause a little bit of problem with your adding any kind of materials or fixes to it later on. Okay, so let's go back. So I'm going to go to my top view, and I'm just going to move my cylinder in like so. So I've got this much depth, which will be cut out. Okay, so we've got this so far, that's great. We want to keep this side of it clear, because we are going to be putting in the this kind of material, this kind of detail here, some of the little grooves in here, some of this more detail later on. Okay. So we've got that, that's great. Okay, so first thing we need to do is click back onto the unit itself, and as I said, just double check you've got your edged faces selected here. Right, so we're going to create a Pro Boolean. So we've got it selected here. So let's go back to our object icon, which is this one here, the plus symbol. And we want to come down to compound objects, okay? And we want to select a pro boolean. Okay. Now the first thing we do before we start creating holes is to go to the advanced options. Now if you're using a roller like I am, I can do that. Sometimes it stops around about here. You'll need to see the advanced options selection underneath there. So if you're struggling, just move the slider down. You see it. Open up the advanced options, and what we want to do here is we need to select remove only invisible. This will make the boolean a lot smoother when the hole's created, and also be a lot more easy for you to apply textures, materials to it afterwards. And once that's done, we can zoom, scroll back to the top, and we can start picking here. Pick boolean, start picking. So select that, and then just select the cylinder, and there you go. There's your kind of aperture there. Now that's fine. Yeah, I'm happy with that. And if we have it, give it a quick render, you can see that the aperture's there. It's fine. Now, so the next thing we need to do is to go back to the modifier tab, and we can see that this, if we click on this now, it's just got Pro Boolean. We need to convert this to an editable poly, so it all collapses into one. Once you're happy with this, we can then do that. So right click and convert to editable poly. And now we're back to where we were. So it's all one unit now. Before it was kind of two separate things. Right. We need to click onto the vertex tool here. Now you can see there are all these points here which will cause you and me quite a few problems when it comes to the unwrapping and packing and adding texture to it, because they are not joined up. Okay, you can see there's all these different vertices here, and there's no geometry at all with them. They're just loose, and that will cause you a lot of problems, and it will just collapse and break up when you come to unwrap this to create a material for it. So what we're going to do, we're going to select the cut tool, and we're just going to, sorry, not the cut tool, the target weld, and we are going to target weld these points together and to create some geometry. So let me show you what I mean. Okay, so target weld. Now what I'm going to do here is just click that to that. That to that. Okay. Now what I'm going to do now is grab this one and bring it into okay, so now you've done that with these two. We're going to select the cut tool now. So we did this here with the target weld because we were welding these points together to make them the individual geometry itself, rather than vertices being floating around individually, because that obviously will cause lots of problems. So now we're going to just select the cut tool here. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to just grab this one and join it to that. And obviously, don't forget to right click once you've finished. This one here to that. Okay, right click. Now we can see we are trying to just click all these and join these together. So let's do that one to that one. Okay, now this might take a little while. Okay, now you need to be careful really not to join too many to one point. So what I would suggest is we do half if we can. So let's have a look. So let's do that one. Now let's come down here. Okay. Just so I'm not overloading the geometry. I think we'll finish off with this one here. Okay, and then we will move over to this side. Try and see if it doesn't give me any of those horrible black lines. Okay. And I'll do this one. Let's have a look where we are. So now we can maybe go to the top here. As I say, try and divide it equally. You don't want to put them all, cutting them all into from one point into the to the same point. So there we go. Okay. So now we know we've created all these vertices now and all this geometry here. So every point is connected. So that will make it a lot easier for us when we come to create a texture material to it. Okay, so it's all together now. Brilliant. So I'm going to just click onto that and I'm going to convert it just to make sure. Okay, so there you go. That's that. Okay, so once you've done that, we can. Let me see if we could click onto this. Oh yeah, so now if you wanted to see if you haven't done a deep enough Boolean, once it's converted to back to a poly, you can obviously select your faces, your polygon, and you can move this back and forward. Not too far back, obviously, because you're going to go through the back of the unit. But if you want to do something like that, just move it a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to save that, and then the next tutorial will work on the back the back grid or back grill before we start working on the blades. Okay.